Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a spoiler talk discussion of Daredevil, the entire Season 1 of Daredevil. So if you haven't watched it, then pause the video, go and watch the entire 13 episodes of the whole season, and then come back. We'll just wait here.
Did you want to say who we are?
No, we have to wait for them to watch.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what? They can pause. Yes, this
Did you
is...
want to say who we are?
This is Clumsy Toaster here with me. We're gonna
Not
have
spelled with a B, despite what Bandit might be trying to tell you. We just did an Age of Ultron podcast on my channel. It's very exhausting, but we're gonna do Daredevil.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch the Age of Ultron one, you can probably click here right now or go to the description, and then we'll link it back at the end, and you'll be caught in an infinite time loop, which will destroy your mind. But
Exactly.
forget about that because we're talking about Daredevil.
Daredevil. Let's
take
talk
the
about
lead.
Daredevil. On a scale of 1 to 17, 17 being the worst,
Okay.
where would you rate Daredevil? Hang on, that's too complicated. Let's say on a scale of -5 to
Okay.
19.
Okay.
That's reversed. Which one would you...
Okay.
You know what, just say whether you thought it was good
okay.
or not.
-5 is the worst, but -19's the best, but 47 is good.
That's right.
47. I thought it was a 47.
I thought it was a 47 as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, I actually think that this is not only one of the best, it's downright, like, I don't think many people could argue, it's downright the best superhero / comic book show ever to have existed. But not only that, I think it's one of the best shows of the year, like flat out, like superhero or not.
Yeah.
I'll
I
fight you.
wouldn't go that far. But
I'll fight you. I'll fight you.
I certainly think it's better.
I'm like Matt Murdock. I'll smell you. I'll smell your Australianness.
Well, we'll get into that as to why. But no, it's like, yeah, it's definitely great. Like, you know how for a while there people were saying that Arrow, he's like the new Batman now. Well, when I watch Daredevil, I'm like, nah, he's kind of like the new Batman now.
Yeah, he's the new, but he's the poor Batman.
Yeah.
Although I do think Arrow borrows way too much from Batman. But
let's go through it character by character. How about that? Let's talk about Daredevil.
I do want to say before I do want to talk a little bit more about the show, just the show.
Yeah, me too.
This show has ruined everything for me. And like for Daredevil, for me, I watched Daredevil and I'm like, great. And before that, I was really liking Gotham. And I watched Daredevil and I finished it, and then I went back to Gotham. I'm like, okay, good, like, Gotham's back. And I watched Gotham and I'm just like, what the f is this? What am I watching? Like, what is this? Same with The Flash. I was like, The Flash is really good. Watch Daredevil comes back. Just, oh my god, this is so because
I never made it past the first episode of Flash. So
yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, all Flash fans. I couldn't. The Flash
is particularly, it's fun. It's campy fun. But the thing about Gotham is that it actually tries to be serious, and it's like I can't take Gotham seriously anymore.
Well,
can't do it.
You know what? You know what though is like, you know what? Let's not try to do a structure to this video. Let's just talk about whatever.
Just chaos.
One thing that got me though is I think it was just before the episode where Stick shows up. I kind of had this moment where I thought to myself, and I was like, you know what? I was like, Daredevil's kind of not really helping anything. Because I thought about it and I was like, because that was when the whole no killing thing comes up.
I'm making a very disappointing. I'm making a very disappointed face at you right now, just to let you know.
No, but just hear me out. It's like, it was when the whole no killing thing came up, which I'm totally down with. I'm like, great, yes. I love my superheroes that don't kill. That's fantastic.
I don't mind. I don't mind it. Like, kill. Captain America kills. I don't mind him.
Yeah. But here's the problem, though. Like, Batman, he doesn't kill either, right? So he'll beat up the criminals, and then he'll deliver them to the cops. So he cleans up the streets by beating up the criminals.
Up and leaves them
but the thing with Daredevil, not until the very last episode, is he doesn't have a Commissioner Gordon type of guy, but he doesn't kill either. So I was like, so he goes out, he beats up the criminals, he leaves them there, and they come back even more angry, even more. And I was like, you're not actually cleaning the streets. You're just showing up and making the bad guys even more bad, trying to find you.
It would be very hard for Daredevil to like get some rope, And then like, because that's the thing about Batman. Batman just like has a like, despite the whole commissioner thing, Batman has like a friggin' jet plane that he just like, oh, bat plane, Batwing, come over here and pick up all these guys, or Batmobile, and he can just load them up and drive them downtown.
Yeah.
Like, is Daredevil gonna
the
like
thing. It's
tie
like,
every guy and then like carry him one by one
well,
over to like the police department?
Well, that's why a lot of the episodes were him saving someone who was kidnapped. Like whether it's the kid that's kidnapped or that girl that was like looking after his wounds and stuff is kidnapped, because that's really the only thing you can do with him. And it's like he beats up people and he like gets information. He's like, I want to get to Kingpin, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do when you get to Kingpin? You beat him up, but right now you don't have any cops to hand him over to. You got no evidence. You're not going to kill him. So what are you going to do? Just beat him up? But eventually they fixed that in the season.
No, that was one of the things. Is that that was like what the entire previous 2 episodes before the finale were building at.
Yeah.
Where they had a really great scene.
Well, see, now he has talking to his pastor,
and he's telling the story about the guy, about the chieftain of the African village, and how everyone loved this chieftain. And then all the people were going into Africa, and they were like the warlord was taking over, and he tried to get the neighbors to kill the chieftain, and they didn't do it. And then he's like, fine, I'll get my soldiers to do it. And his soldiers couldn't do it. And then so he finally goes in and sits down and has a very nice, pleasant conversation with him. And then at the end, just chops his head off and hacks him to pieces. That was the whole thing building up to that, because the whole thing was like, he was like, if you could go back, would you kill that warlord? Like, knowing all the terrible things that he would do, would you kill one life to save another? So what Daredevil was planning on doing for like a very large portion of the show was he was planning on killing the Kingpin. Like, he didn't want to kill because he has a moral thing, but he was like, I'm going to make an exception for this one guy, because if I take out this one guy, then it's all over. So Daredevil was totally going to flat out murder the Kingpin until like the conscience got the better of him, and he's like, I can do it without killing anybody.
Blah, blah, blah. You know what else? You know what though?
But he was going to straight up murder him.
Yeah, but it's good that he didn't, because Kingpin has done more to clean the city up than Daredevil has. Think about it. The Russians are gone. Daredevil didn't do that. The Kingpin did that. You know, all the criminals, criminals that are getting taken out of the city, they're fighting each other. It's not through Daredevil, not until the very end. So that's why when Stick showed up, and he's like, look, you got to kill people. And I was like, well, if you don't have a Commissioner Gordon that you can hand the criminals to after you beat them up, then yeah, you kind of do need to kill people. Yeah, otherwise, there's a scene where he's looking out the window, he goes, I feel like I'm not making a difference. I'm like, you're not! You're not making a difference.
You saved a kid.
The Russians are like, we're just trying to do business, and this crazy guy jumps out of the shadows and beats us up all the time.
To be fair, their business is human trafficking and indentured slavery. So they're not. He is making a difference. He is saving people. Like, he saved those girls in the beginning 5 minutes. Like, he saved those girls from probably being like raped by being sex slaves. Like, he probably saved them from like a very horrible life that they would have gone into. That's true,
but they'll just get more people.
And he also saved a child.
He's not getting them off the streets. See,
that's the problem. He wants to take down Kingpin so he can eliminate everyone. Because if he takes down Kingpin, then everything falls down. It's a pyramid thing. It's a pyramid of cards. You take down the top, and then just boom.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they fixed it up now, but there was a period where a couple of episodes I was thinking that, like, because now, like in the last episode, there's that cop who kind of knows that Daredevil's a good guy. So I'm like, good, he has like a Commissioner Gordon type guy that he can help work with. Because like for a while, he didn't really have any way of actually getting criminals off the street.
Now the whole city knows he's a good guy, because like at the very end with the whole paper thing, it's like, oh, thank you, Daredevil. Yeah. So like now it's kind of, because the whole thing about before is like Kingpin was causing all those. Remember, Kingpin like caused the giant bombing of Hell's Kitchen. Yeah. So he is not doing. He's still a very blatant bad guy. Like, I do think he is helping the city on like a big standpoint, but in a way, I don't know if you saw Kingsman.
I saw Kingsman.
I don't want to do a spoiler for Kingsman because this is not a spoilercast for Kingsman, but in the same way on how the villain in Kingsman was right, if he had gone through his plan, the world would be a much better place. He's right. It would be like the end result would be like a utopia, but it's the means, and the means are just so far out there and so cruel and so evil that it's not even worth doing. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're right. You would probably make this world a better place, but you are doing horrible, horrible things. We can't go through with this.
Well,
and I think it's the same thing with Kingpin.
Yeah, like that's the question. Like, you do have to ask, like, would the city be better? Like, would the city be better? Hold on. Would the city be better if you let Kingpin run all the crime? Or would it be better if you got rid of Kingpin and then everyone's fighting each other to try to take on the new leadership? It might actually be better if you just leave Kingpin in charge, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Daredevil wants to take out everyone. He wants to dismantle it all.
Yeah. But, you know, maybe it's just my personality, because also, like, not related just to the crime, like some of the other sort of moral dilemmas that they present, like, throughout the show. Like, for example, when there's that flashback to where you see how Daredevil's dad died, and you know there's that whole bit where he's like, the guys are like, here, you got to take the fall, we'll give you this money. He's like, no, I'm not going to take the fall, I'm a fighter, blah blah blah. I'm watching it and I'm like, no, I'd take the money.
yeah
I was like, I would take the money. I'd be like, my son's blind, I need money to look after my son. Sure, I'll take a fall. Why not?
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about his character. It's another thing where people are like, why don't the elders pay attention on Krypton? Because it's obviously everything's going to shit, and it's like everything's gonna be like bad soon. But that's kind of the point. That's the whole point, is that they're supposed to be like, we don't care, we're arrogant sons of bitches, I don't give a shit. And I think that it's a similar thing with Daredevil's dad, where he knows that it's best to take the money, and I think he accepts before turning it down in the show, because he's like, yeah, okay, but then like he sees his kid, he's like, no, I can't let him, like, he needs to see his dad win for once, and that's what he did, and he decides
I understand that was what he was thinking, and he's like, and I know he works out that thing where he takes all the money they were going to give him for the fall, and then he bets on himself to win, so that all that money will go to his son, and his son will be looked after. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but I think what your son needs more than a big chunk of money is his dad there.
Well, to be fair,
you know,
you can
take the fall, have money, and still be there for your son. I was like, they should have written that better, because I was like, none of this needs to happen, and it's just kind of stupid.
What they failed to do, what they failed to say, they failed to bring it up on how, like, every single fight, he didn't know this, but like every single fight of his career in Hell's Kitchen was fixed, and he had no idea. So that's another reason why he wanted to win for once, for real.
Okay, hang on,
because they didn't delve into that. That's more of a comics thing.
Hey, hold on one sec. I just got to move my car. Hang on.
You got to move your car? Okay, we'll edit.
I'll be right back. I just got to move my car.
Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets. Hello, America. It's me, Reginald. I'd like to talk to you about HPV. It's in my penis. And now, it's in your penis too. Okay. That's it. Thank you, America. I'm Reginald.
Hello? You there?
There is no Grayson, only Zool.
So sorry about that, man.
Just Ghostbusters reference for you. No, it's okay. I just went on a little tangent about HPV. It's fine. That'll be fun. That'll be fun for you to edit out.
I look forward to hearing it back.
Yeah, but that's a thing that they didn't really bring up in the show, although it's a thing in the comics, is that in the comics, Batman Jack Murdock finds out that every single fight he's ever done in the history of Hell's Kitchen, which is pretty much the entirety of his career, every single fight he's done had been fixed. So it wasn't just like, oh, like I want my kid to see me win, which he did. And it wasn't just like, oh, I wanted him to have a bunch of this money. It was about proving to himself that he could win, because I think it was really just like he was devastated when he found out, I've never won a match legitimately in my life. And so he did it for the money. He did it for himself. He did it for his son. He did it for his son's future. And it did cost him his life. But I would arguably say that Matt ended up having a better life. Like, regardless of the whole Daredevil thing, regardless of all the trauma, he did end up having a better life because of what his dad did, rather than if his dad had just lost the fight like he was supposed to. He would have just been doing that for the rest of his life, making ends meet, and Daredevil would have been a homeless kid.
They didn't do a very good job of setting it up, though, and ultimately, like, I was like, leaving behind your blind son, you might need to have a better reason for dying than just, hey, I want him to see me win a fight, even though he technically can't see it anyway. Like, no, like his dad being there is more important than any of that stuff.
But financially,
like,
he was far better off.
All of the moral dilemmas, maybe I'm just the wrong person to watch that show. Like the blonde chick, like near the beginning of the...
Karen Page.
Yeah, near Karen. That's Karen Page, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like, when they offer her that deal of like, never talk about this incident again, here's a big chunk of money, and she's like, I can't do that. I can't stay silent. I'd be like, I would. I'd say, I'll take that money and I'll sign that thing. Who cares? And even like that, when that old lady that they were trying to save her from getting kicked out of her place, and she's like, I won't take the money to move. This is my home. I'm like, your home is a dump. Take the money and move somewhere else. So like all the moral dilemmas they presented, I was just like, just take the money.
Well, the reason that it was a dump, because like I think they established that her family had been there. I might just be pulling this out of my ass. I don't know, but I think I'm pretty sure that they said like her family had been there since like the early 1900s.
Yeah, but
like it's a very historical home.
But it's
the reason that it was a dump,
it's a cesspit. Kingpin wants to tear it down, build some nice units there, and he's compensating her to move. I'm like,
but it only became a dump.
That's
good.
It only became a dump.
It only became a dump after the Chitauri invasion, though. After they came down and like wrecked everything. It was nice, like just a couple of years ago, and it's not like, oh, I live in this dump and I just can't accept it. It's like I think she just is holding on.
Like Kingpin is the guy who's trying to rebuild the city. You know,
so some aliens knock it down in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, he wants to rebuild the city, but the way he's going about it, it's not. It's like,
well, you know,
I mean, you could say the same thing in The Godfather, where it's like,
you
the
can't
Godfather's
make an omelet without
check.
breaking some heads. I mean, eggs.
Oh yeah, beat me to it. I was 1 second away. But like a lot like The Godfather, like you could argue what he's doing is good because it's for the better of his family and for the better of the city. And no, he's straight up murdering people. He's controlling people through violence and fear. And I get that like what Kingpin wants to do is a good thing, but he's going about it the wrong way. And I still like understood him. And I still was like, wow, I really sympathize with this character, unlike any other villain I've really ever seen.
Yeah.
Because I actually do care about what happens to you, and I actually do care if you get to be with Vanessa, and I actually do care about your whole thing with the White Wall and your backstory with your father. He
is doing more to clean up the city than Daredevil is.
He is.
He's rebuilding the slums.
The end result is great.
He's gotten rid of all the Russians that were doing that slavery, something Daredevil couldn't do. Like, really, Daredevil should be working with him.
No, the end result is great, but you have to think about what he's doing in order to get that. He's human. There's human trafficking. There's murder.
There's killing people.
There's murdering innocent old ladies.
Yeah, he's willing to kill people to make the city what he thinks it should be. Very much like Daredevil was. Daredevil was willing to kill him to make the city what he thinks it needs to be.
He was going to kill one guy. He was not going to, and he was very conflicted about it. He wasn't shaking it off like status quo.
You know what?
He He was very conflicted about killing the one guy.
Yeah, and that's exactly
And he
how it
decided
started
not
with
to.
Kingpin. That's
And he decided not
exactly
to.
how it started with Kingpin, wasn't it? It was just the one guy, his dad. Next thing you know, he's like a mobster. That would happen to Daredevil too. He'd be a blind
He didn't have a conflict.
mobster.
He didn't have a conflict. That was a burst of rage, and then he just let out a demon that was like lying inside him. That was not like I really want to kill my dad because it would be good for the city and like everyone living in it, and for like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people will have their lives spared if I kill my dad right now.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
wasn't.
Daredevil was
Obviously,
thinking.
he wasn't doing.
Daredevil
it to
was saving so many. Like
hold
that's
on,
the
hold
whole
on,
thing.
hold on. Obviously, he wasn't doing it to make the city a better place. He was doing it on a smaller scale of making his home a better place. That's so in a smaller scale in a child's version, he was doing basically the same thing as he is as Kingpin now. So he and Daredevil are actually pretty similar in that way.
That is true. Daredevil and Kingpin are like two sides of the same coin. Although I will always say that while I can see where they're coming from, like that's what he's saying. Like you said, he wants to make his home a better place. Yeah. While I can see where he's coming from, and like they do have almost the same ideologies, the way that they carry out those ideologies are completely different. With Kingpin is definitely in the wrong. I don't think anyone's like Kingpin's right, except for you apparently, because you're like a sadist. But no sane person would say that is going out of there saying yes, Kingpin's the good guy.
I'm just stating the fact. Until the final episode, Kingpin did more to clean up the city than Daredevil did.
Well, see, there's the whole mental breakdown in the final episode where he's like, I don't care about the city at all. And where he's beating Daredevil. And like, that's like, you could say maybe he's mad, but I think when he's mad, he loses control. That's what he really meant. Those were his true words. That he doesn't care about the city and then he wants it to burn. Just like his father and just like Daredevil. He wants it all to go to hell.
Yeah, well, that's because, that's because his best friend had been killed. His, girlfriend had almost been killed. From his point of view, someone went after his mother too. So he was like, to hell with this city. Try to do a good thing and everyone keeps coming after me.
But he's not. That's the thing, is that he has such a twisted personality, but he's got to go stare at a white painting some more, so whatever.
Yeah. So
that was really good. I love that white painting, by the way. That's some really good symbolism. I love that.
You know something else I was thinking about, though? I was like, how does Daredevil get around the city?
He runs. He does parkour.
Yeah.
Remember the one scene where he's tracking the car by the music it's playing? They're playing classical music so he can track it. And he's doing parkour. Like he runs down an alley and leaps up a fire escape.
But no matter how good you are at parkour, you can't keep up with cars and things like that.
Well, he is trained by ninjas.
Doing that, I was like...
He's trained by ninjas.
Again,
okay, but here's the thing.
Batman has a car, he has a plane, he has all this stuff.
But here's the thing. If we said it was
Batman,
and let's just say that the Batwing and the Batmobile are out of condition right now, if we just said that was Batman in the role and he was doing it on foot, nobody would question it.
No, that's because he has a grappling hook and he can glide.
Let's say he doesn't have a grappling hook and he can't glide. Let's say if he could only run, people would still be like, because he's Batman. There's a little bit of suspension of disbelief there, but like it was never so bad. Like it wasn't like 2003 Daredevil where he jumps 200 feet,
where CGI just goes boing,
or like he jumps down a building and lands on a window washer thing and somehow doesn't break his legs immediately, even though he just dropped 20 stories. It was never something like that where it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. It was always even though it's if you're realistic, you think about it, you're like,
because it was.
But you could say the same thing for anything in Marvel. You could say the same thing for the Hulk or Iron Man or whatever.
Yeah, but I did wonder that though, because until we had that parkour scene, I was wondering that. I was like, how does he get around the city so fast? I was like, he's obviously not driving because he can't see.
There's a Daredevil. Well, he can see. He can smell the cars.
Yeah,
he can smell the cars.
I guess he has to drive with the windows down so he can smell everything.
Yeah, I smell the rubber. I had to use external air conditioning only.
Yeah, I do think Daredevil's played very well by...
Oh, Charlie Cox.
What's the guy's name? Charlie
Cox.
He's fantastic.
He's been great. He was in... I really forgot about him, but he was really great in another Matthew Vaughn film, Stardust. He was really great in that. He was the main guy in that. If just quick second right here. If anyone hasn't seen Stardust, look up Stardust 2007 right now. You'll really enjoy that movie. I guarantee it.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
he was also in he was also in The Theory of Everything, the one that Eddie Redmayne just won an Oscar for, the Stephen Hawking movie.
Oh, yeah.
He was kind of a dick that stole Stephen King's not Stephen King, Stephen King, Stephen Hawking's wife. He was kind of that douche.
Well, he stole his wife.
He's a really good actor.
Man.
Yeah, you got to see that movie. But
he's great. He's a really good.
He's like I'm still his face is a bit weird for the role. Like when I heard that he was announced, my biggest thing was like cast an actual redhead or dye his hair red. But honestly, I really don't mind now because I think his hair's a bit weird. There's some other stuff going on about him, but his voice, like just the man's voice, he is definitive Daredevil. Like I think his voice to Daredevil is what Kevin Conroy is to Batman. Like it's literally just Daredevil's voice come on screen, especially like he can just sell any scene. Like I think there was the scene where he was in court and he was making that anagram. He was making that analogy to pornography, and it's just like it's law mumbo jumbo. I hate that stuff, but he was just so compelling, and he just had such a captivating voice that it's just he was perfect. He was perfect for the role.
Maybe I'm boring, but I'd actually like to see him doing more lawyering. You know,
I would too.
I'd like to see him do more of that. But I did notice, like with the performance though, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Ben Affleck did do the blind thing better than that guy.
At times.
I know he had contact lenses so that it looked like he didn't focus, but even like the way he moves, like I noticed with this guy, like there's a scene where he's cooking breakfast and it's like if he's going to reach over to the right to grab some butter, I notice he'll like turn his head and look to the butter that he's going to grab. And I'm like, a blind guy wouldn't do that. They just stare ahead and reach to the side and grab it.
Smell the butter. Because the thing about Daredevil in 2003...
But still, there's a certain way that blind people move, even though he can smell everything.
But he's not blind. Because he sees. Remember, he sees? He
sees. I know, but he's pretending to be blind.
No, but that's the thing.
People would have noticed. I would have noticed. I'd be like, why are you looking at things if you're blind?
Was he by himself? Or was he cooking in front of somebody?
No, he was cooking. It was a scene where he was cooking breakfast for that nurse chick.
But she knows he's Daredevil. She knows he can do that.
Not at that point, she didn't. Not at that point, she didn't.
She did. Yes, she did. That's how they meet. He winds up in a dumpster. She pulls him out. She knows him. She knows he's Daredevil straight from the beginning. Okay. That's why you were not paying attention.
But still, what you don't if he still you don't need to turn your head. He wouldn't do that.
Things. Because he needs the smell. Because the thing about Daredevil 2003 is the way that they portrayed it is that he only has a radar sense and he only hears. But like how Daredevil actually works, well, it changes. But the one that I like is he doesn't have super hearing. What he's developed and in this show they do it right where they say it's not a thing from the chemicals, it's a thing that anyone can do, but blind people are more commonly able to do it because they don't rely on their vision, which is the sense that we rely on most. But the whole thing is that he doesn't really have enhanced senses. He more has a sixth sense, which is an enhancement of all those senses combined, and he can sort of turn that sixth sense on or off. So that's the thing, is that he doesn't need to. He's turning his head because he's using all of his senses. He's using his smell and his taste. He can smell which direction things are in. So it's kind of like he's seeing with his nose. It's really weird.
Yes, but he can't read a newspaper. Okay, he can't read a newspaper.
Why
does he turn and look at a TV screen?
This is going to sound like comic book, but he can feel where the ink is. Dude, he can feel where the ink is and where there isn't because his tactile sense, which is the sense of touch.
He'd have to touch it, but
it's so advanced that he can.
Dude, there's a scene in the bar when the TV's on, and one time he turns around and looks at the screen. He's blind. He can't see the screen.
That's a bit pushing it. There's another one where it's like he's watching a video on the thing, and I'm like, why is he watching it? He should be listening to it, but why? Because he can see where the screen is. Can't see what's on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
He can,
Like,
he might be able to be like, oh,
even though you say like you say, he uses all his other senses so he can like paint a picture in his head. But I still did catch the actor doing motions that you wouldn't imagine he would do.
He does know what color things are sometimes because he can tell what. Because this is like super like, oh, you're pushing it, where he can feel the amount of heat that's being reflected off the surface, so he knows exactly what color is being emitted, but he can't do that with the screen. So it's like, so he can't see color on the screen, so why even look at it?
Yeah. Or like blind people often, like when they put stuff down, like they got a cup and they're like, put it on the table. They don't just put it on the table. They very much go and like really place it down hard sort of thing because they want to try to remember where it is. So like he could have like, hopefully he'll like progress his performance and he'll start using things like that when he's pretending to be blind, basically. What about Foggy? Do you like Foggy? I think Foggy's all right, actually.
He's been getting a lot of bad rap. A lot of people are like, I don't like Foggy. I thought he was fine. I thought he was funny. But I really wasn't sold on his character until we had the flashback scenes to him when he and Matt were in college.
Yeah, that was good.
I think that's what really sold me, because I'm like, oh, these guys really are friends. And they do that whole thing where like friends kind of like, and they kind of, like, they did very much talk like friends before.
Yeah, I totally like him too. But you know what is... This is funny because we just did the Age of Ultron thing, and it was you bringing up a lot of the criticism, me defending it, and now we're here Daredevil and I'm criticizing it, you're defending it.
We are about to do the Age of Ultron thing. We don't know. There's no specified time loop. What? Continue. I interrupted you. That was very rude of me. Continue.
But yeah, allow me to be Devil's Advocate again, or Daredevil's Advocate again.
Oh. Foggy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for that one. But yeah, like I remember the very first episode with Foggy and Daredevil, and Daredevil or Murdoch, he's in Murdoch mode. He goes, "We only defend innocent people," and Foggy says, "Well, I believe that everyone is innocent until they're proven guilty in a court of law, as the law states." And I thought about it, and I was like, actually, yeah, he's kind of right. You know, like the reason that we have a judge and a jury and a trial is to determine if someone is guilty or not. And Daredevil's just like, I'm going to be the judge and jury and decide even without a trial because I can hear your heartbeat.
That's the thing. I have a problem with that because he says that, but then that's not actually what he does. Because then there's that whole thing where that one woman who like made a porno when she was a teenager, and they're using that to blackmail her so they can like get her to swing the jury.
Yeah,
he's defending his client that he knows is guilty, and like he makes it. He does like a that was one of the courtroom scenes I was saying where he does really well, where he does a great job of getting his client off, and then as soon as his client is found innocent, he goes out and beats the shit out of him,
and the guy ends up shoving his own face through a spike.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want Kingpin to come after his family.
That makes much more sense, and I think they should do that and not keep we only defend innocent people. Because here's the thing, if you're the lawyer of somebody guilty, and you're like the best lawyer in town, well, you have all the information you need from them. Yeah. Non-disclosure. They just spilled all the beans. You get them off scot-free, then you go vigilante up and beat the shit out of them and use all the information against them later.
I took issue with it more from like... I know this is going to sound like I'm suddenly talking about Law and Order or whatever, but
yeah, we're
again,
going to relate this
going back to Batman. Okay, going back to Batman again is like he'll beat up the criminals, hand them over to Commissioner Gordon, whatever, but they still get a trial. They still get a fair trial and due process and all the rest of it. But Daredevil, by refusing to represent people who he thinks is guilty, even though they haven't had a trial yet, he's kind of stuffing up the whole justice system, isn't he? Because it's not the lawyer's.
Just one lawyer. He's just one lawyer.
It's not the lawyer's job to decide if someone's guilty or not. It's the judge's job to judge if the person's guilty or not.
Well, it's the jury's job.
The lawyer's job is to question the validity of the evidence, and that's very important. So when I was watching it, I was like, I think he would do more good if he just focused on being a lawyer. You know, then he'd just be like a Harvey Dent before he went crazy. You know, he's kind of wrecking the justice system.
Well, he still needs to be a vigilante at points, but I do think it should be lawyer 90, Daredevil 10. I do think that he should do. I do want to see him more in the courtroom. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, "No, I want fight scenes." But I do think that, like realistically, he should be a little bit in the courtroom more often than not. Besides, he's not going to do that.
What he is doing, though,
because he defended a person that he knew was guilty, so that throws his whole moral thing out the window. He'll totally do that, even though he said he wouldn't.
Yeah, but even more so, because what he is doing is he's becoming judge, jury, and, well, not executioner, but he's doing that all on his own, and he's basing it all off that he's a human lie detector. So he's like, I can say I won't defend guilty people because I know if you're guilty because I can hear
but he will defend
your heartbeat.
Guilty people.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's judging people as guilty or innocent based off being a lie detector. But lie detectors are not admissible in court because they're not reliable. So I was like, dude, you're judging people and beating up people based off a lie detector, which can't even be admissible in a court of law, because if someone's a good liar, they can trick it. Or if they're stressed or something like that.
Is that he's like better than a lie. I think there's a whole thing like he's better than a lie detector because Stick trained him and all that stuff. So I do get that, but I mean,
what a terrible person.
Yeah, he'll defend. Like I've already said this like 50 million times. He will defend guilty people. So like that entire thing is irrelevant anyway because he totally will. He says, "I'll only defend you." Actually, I think that's a line from the 2003 version. I'm not so sure if that was in the Daredevil show.
Yeah, and somebody has to defend, the other side in the courtroom, don't they?
Yeah, somebody.
That's important. You need to have
that's
someone
the whole thing.
to defend.
He's a defense lawyer. That's the entire thing. The prosecutors, though, he's not a prosecuting lawyer.
What if every lawyer said that? Was like, I'm only going to defend people I think is innocent. Well, what if someone's like framed of a crime and no one wants to defend them? Like, no. Well, you need to have lawyers to defend guilty people.
Well, that doesn't work because the whole thing is those are private lawyers, which is what Nelson and Murdoch are. They have their own firm. But they have the right to turn them down. But if everyone turns them down, they can't get a lawyer. Then the state will appoint them one. That's the whole thing. Like if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. So they do have those are like stock
but that's at least that at least gives validity to the sentence because you can say, well, they had a chance to defend themselves because they got a lawyer, even if they can't afford one.
You can represent yourself if you want to.
But see, Daredevil is kind of like throwing a spanner in all that works.
I guess, but I mean, honestly,
so I'm getting really caught up in this whole thing.
It's not like he's the only lawyer in New York.
No,
New York is a big law city. Like if he refuses one guy, they can always go to the next. So I get like what you're saying is
just in principle,
what he's doing isn't the best idea.
Doing.
But I don't think he's really like disrupting the law system by refusing someone. He's just one lawyer.
Yeah, only one person. But in principle, what he's doing is undermining the whole justice system.
Mm-hmm. Because he needs to give justice with his fists. He needs to give justice with his fists.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that as well. I'm totally Team Kingpin. We gotta stop that maniac. I was actually surprised, like how graphic so many of the fight scenes are. Which is great, I love that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't expect the fight scenes to be that gory, but it's awesome.
The fight with Nobu, the ninja, where Daredevil basically almost gets murdered.
Yeah.
And there's just chains just ripping out pieces of his flesh.
Yeah, even where he like hooks him in the ribs and then he drags him across the floor.
That was brutal, man. But for me, I'm like, okay, that's Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't care. I still was like, wow, that's brutal for Marvel to do, but I was never like, ooh. What really got me,
they're great fight scenes.
Was episode 2. It was episode 2, the torture scene. The scene where the doctor's is like, by the way, just stick this needle into this nerve in his eye and it will drive him crazy. Yeah. And he just does that and he just tortures the guy. That's what got me. I was like, no, I don't like needles going into eyes or anything. It's like, nope. Yeah. That was, because you don't even see any gore there, but like just the way that they filmed it was like, no,
it was brutal.
It was so hard to watch.
I'm trying to remember though. Why did he need to do that? Because if he's a lie detector, he shouldn't actually need to talk to the guy.
Because
was it just to get him to say something so he could tell?
Yeah. He didn't need to know if what he was saying was true. He needed him to say something at all. Like he needed him to say something.
I needed him to give information. Yeah.
That reminds me. I do love all those other interrogation scenes where he just like as soon as someone says something that's a lie,
he just punches him in the face.
Just punches him in the face. I love
breaks
how fast
arms
the interrogations go, and they just realize, oh, I have to actually be truthful. Because like with Batman, you'll have like a I'm gonna hold you against the ledge. I just love the punch to the face, punch to the face, punch to the face. Tell me the truth. Okay. Oh, you're lying.
One more punch in the face.
I just love that so much.
What about when Kingpin like decapitates that guy with a car door?
The Russian in the God,
he's just like and he's just
I like how Wesley. It wasn't so much that; it's how Wesley's just so calm about it, and he's just like, "Oh, I better move over. Oh, I'm gonna get out of the car. It's getting kind of gross."
I was surprised at like how sad I was when Wesley died.
Oh, I wasn't. I was like, I'm ready for this dude to die.
Really? Because I kind of liked him. I was like when she grabs the gun off the table, and he's like, "Do you think I'd leave that there?"
Guard, he's like, we're gonna kill your daughter unless you kill Karen Page," and then they murder him, and
yeah. But yeah, I actually found myself kind of grieving for him. I was like, oh, I like that Wesley dude.
Oh no, I wanted it. I mean, he was fun, but I wanted him to die. I was like, okay.
You didn't like him? You thought he was too official?
Yeah. What I felt when I felt bad for the villain, it was when Kingpin didn't make it to the chopper, and Vanessa was just sitting there waiting for him, and then when she realizes, oh, he's not coming, and like she looks at the ring for a second. And I was almost dead certain that she's going to leave the ring on the ground. And if she had left the ring on the ground, like if she had just put the ring down in a bin and got it in the chopper, I would have been like, nope, too many feels. I can't take this. Yeah. This is no. I would have felt genuinely, I would have been like I would have been on Kingpin's side. But it was nice that she like takes the ring and she puts it on her finger. So it's like, oh, she'll be waiting for him when he gets out of prison. But I'm super excited for the whole Netflix thing and Daredevil in general. Yeah, me too. So, everyone, hope you enjoyed it. If you want to watch the discussion, the spoiler discussion for Age of Ultron, click on the card in the top right corner of the screen. It's a little grayed out eye thing. You click on that, a list will pop down. It works on mobile phones. Did you know they have that now? Oh yeah, or you could click on this. They haven't or you could click on this fire-breathing dragon right here, and I bring this up because now that I said it, Bandit has to put it in. Oh, damn you, man. So I'm making extra work for you. Yeah, but if you go over and watch the Age of Ultron one, you'll see a fully articulated Ultron giving an introduction, which is way better than the dragon in the corner of the screen right now. This was recorded after Age of Ultron. I don't have to do that. Applies. Alright, so until next time, guys. I'm Bandit. This is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the comments.